It is now virtually certain that 2024 will be the world's warmest year on record, according to projections by the European Climate Service. Global average temperatures across the year are on track to end up more than 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. If that forecast holds up, 2024 will become the first calendar year to breach this symbolic mark. When we talk about pre-industrial, this is what we mean. The Industrial Revolution, beginning in the late 18th century, marked a significant point in global climate. As countries industrialized, they began to rely heavily on fossil fuels like coal and oil, leading to a steady increase in greenhouse gas emissions. This shift resulted in a rise in average global temperatures, with the most notable changes occurring from the late 19th century onwards. Despite these global trends, Africa has historically played a minimal role in contributing to greenhouse gas emissions, but bears a disproportionate load of the climate crisis. This year alone, millions in East Africa, West and Central Africa were affected by floods, while Southern Africa suffered drought. The Sahel, North Africa, and West Africa experienced heat waves. In response to these escalating challenges, global leaders attempted to make significant shifts in climate policies. The Triple COPs drafted several agreements to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and enhance climate resilience. The COP conference in Baku saw the implementation of a loss and damage fund to ensure that nations that carry the heaviest burden from the climate crisis receive more financial assistance from the countries most responsible. However, the world's wealthy nations, which are also responsible for much of the world's greenhouse gas emissions, pledged less than $700 million of the $400 billion that lower-income countries estimate they need for loss and damage by 2030. Meanwhile, adaptation may cost $30 to $15 billion per year in sub-Saharan Africa alone. While it sounded like a breakthrough, implementation remains a critical challenge. The last 12 months offer a broader canvas of progress from governments that will shape the future. For example, several African countries adopted large-scale renewable energy projects to meet growing energy demands while addressing energy access gaps in neglected rural areas. We also have green technologies in waste management that presents opportunities to turn waste into resources that also foster economic opportunities and job creation for young people. And finally, in a historic moment for global climate governance, the International Court of Justice recently finished hearing a landmark case that could have enormous implications for climate action. This will be the first time that a legal precedent is set under international law, setting out what all governments must do to prevent further global warming. As the impacts of climate change on countries and businesses continue to unfold in 2025, translating the inevitability of climate impacts into a renewed sense of urgency among global leaders will be critical. Will 2025 be the year in which momentum towards a sustainable future becomes inevitable?